Some houses don't rot. They just wait. And after a while, even the wind forgets how to knock. There's a house at the very end of Briar Lane. Not the last one you would see, the last one you would feel. Tucked just behind a thicket of overgrown hedges, down a sloped driveway that dips low like a draining the earth. The mailbox is rusted shut, the numbers half missing, and the fence that surrounds it has bowed inward, as if the yard was slowly trying to swallow the home whole. The place has been empty longer than anyone in the neighborhood has been alive. Or, at least, that's what they say. But the porch light is always on. Just one. A soft yellow bulb in the front room, shining behind a gauzy curtain every single night. It's not bright, not enough to see by, just a low, sickly kind of glow. The kind you notice only when you're not looking for it. It casts no shadow and no warmth. And sometimes, if you stand at the top of the street and squint through the dark, you will swear you see a silhouette behind it. Tall, still, watching. People used to talk about the house. Well, you know how neighborhoods are. Back in the 80s, kids dared each other to run up and knock on the door. Nobody ever made it past the fence. One boy tried. He got as far as the yard, but then came back as white as a sheet and couldn't talk for 2 days. After that, nobody tried again. There were rumors, of course, that someone had died in the house, that someone had never left, that sometimes, if you walked by with your dog, it would stop and growl at the hedge, hackles up, tail tucked, watching the yard like it could smell something the rest of us couldn't. But most people forgot. The street changed, like streets do. People moved in, people moved out. A few houses got renovated, fences repainted, driveways redone. Briar Lane became a cul-de-sac full of minivans and porch swings. Nice families, birthday parties, cookouts, kids riding scooters until dark. But this house, at the end, stayed the same. And then, one summer, all changed. It began with the dog. Old Mutt belonged to the Harveys 2 doors up. He got loose one night, ran barking down the street, and woke up half the block. But by morning, it was gone. 3 days later, it turned up at the foot of the house's driveway. Dead. But not like you would expect. No blood, no wounds. It just looked old, like it had been left out in the sun for years. Its fur was faded, skin wrinkled, eyes grey, and dry as paper. Like something had aged it. That same week, a new shadow appeared in the front window. Still tall, still unmoving, but different somehow. Heavier and closer. The Harveys moved out 2 months later. They said it was unrelated. Said They needed to be closer to family. But their house stayed empty. Their mailbox rusted shut too. And soon after, 2 more families left. One without warning. Their lawn stayed uncut for 3 weeks before anyone realized they had gone. And then it really started. Every so often, someone would wake in the middle of the night to see the porch light blinking. Not flickering, blinking. A steady, deliberate rhythm. 1 second on, 2 seconds off. On, off. Like Morse code. One guy even claimed he tried to translate it. Got as far as "come out" and before he stopped telling the story. People began closing their blinds early. They stopped letting their kids stay out past sunset. Even the mailman stopped going past number 12. Packages started getting delivered to the wrong homes. Or not at all. But no one wanted to talk about it anymore. Until Jamie Reynolds disappeared. He was 13, smart kid, always riding around on that dumb electric scooter. He would zip up and down the block with his backpack swinging, always late for something, and always grinning. But one night, after a fight with his dad, Jamie stomped out with his hoodie on backward and headphones in. He said he was going to cool off at the park. He never came back. The police searched everywhere, called friends, checked traffic cams. Nothing. They found the scooter though, lying at the mouth of the driveway to the house at the end of the lane, propped up against a broken fence like it had been left there, carefully. The porch light was on, brighter than usual, and the front door was open, just an inch. The house was empty, of course, or so they said. No signs of forced entry, nothing disturbed. Just furniture under dust sheets. No footprints, no fingerprints, and no signs of Jamie. Except for one thing. His name, carved lightly into the side of the doorframe. Not scratched, not gorged, just neatly, precisely etched in, like a name on a waiting list. They never found him. And the day after the search, the neighbors started seeing 2 shadows in the window. Now there are 3, each one standing at a different pane, each one still, each one waiting. The yellow light never goes off, not even during storms, not even when the power dies for the rest of the street. The ground near the hedge is always damp now, even when it hasn't rained. And the air around the end of the lane hums just slightly, like an old fridge running in the background. And some mornings, when the fog rolls low, people swear they see footprints on their porches. Not shoe prints, bare feet, damp, facing the door. There's just one woman left at the far end, Miss Abernathy. She's old, tough, been here since the beginning. She says she isn't scared, says She lived next to worse things than shadows. But last week, her niece called the police. Miss Abernathy wasn't answering the phone, and her porch light was off. The front door open, just an inch. Now there are 4 shadows. You can tell when something's wrong with a neighborhood. It gets too quiet. Or maybe it's that people stop pretending that everything is fine. It started on a Tuesday. That's what I remember most, because nothing ever starts on a Tuesday. The man's name was Mr. Haskin. He lived 3 doors down, was alone, retired maybe. He wore buttoned-up flannel shirts, even in summer, and had a habit of watering his lawn after dark. No one knew much about him, but he waved politely when he walked his dog, and his front porch light always came on at dusk like clockwork. Then one day, the dog stopped barking, the porch light stayed off, and Mr. Haskin came out at sunrise with a shovel. He started digging in the center of his backyard. The hole wasn't big at first, just a shallow, awkward pit in the middle of his grass. People assumed it was a gardening project, or maybe he was installing something. But then he didn't stop. Every day, dawn to dusk, he would dig. You could hear the rhythmic scrape of the shovel echoing between the houses. Clink, shh, over and over. He didn't wear gloves. He didn't pause for water, didn't even seem to rest. And the hole kept getting wider and deeper. By the end of the week, it was 6 feet deep and 10 feet across. At that point, someone finally called the HOA. 2 reps came by to speak with him. Polite knock, clipboard in hand. They didn't stay long, just stood at the edge of the pit, talking to him for maybe 5 minutes, and then left, pale and quiet. The next day, the HOA emailed the neighborhood to say the issue was being addressed privately. But the digging continued. People stopped walking their dogs past his house. Kids stopped biking near his yard. And he was out there even during the rain. Shirt soaked, dirt sticking to his skin, shovel scraping against rock and clay, and something that didn't always sound like dirt. At night, he would just stand beside the hole, looking into it, motionless. No flashlight, no lantern, just staring. And then, one night, the Haskin house went dark entirely. Not a single bulb, not even the red glow of an alarm clock behind a window. But at 3 a.m., I swear I saw him standing at the edge of the hole, back lit by the moon. He was holding the shovel like a cane, watching, completely still, like he was waiting for something. By week 3, the grass around the pit had died. Not just yellowed, withered, like it had been burned, but only in a perfect circle around the hole. There were no signs of rot or chemicals, just scorched, dry soil. And the hole, it had gone deeper, way deeper. No one knew how far down it went. From the street, you couldn't see the bottom anymore. Just a deep, swallowing darkness. No sound came out of it, not even echoes. Birds stopped flying overhead. Even the breeze seemed to go around his backyard. The ground had started to sink, not just where he dug, but around it, like the dirt was tired, like it wanted to fall in. And Mr. Haskin, he had stopped waving, stopped wearing shirts. His skin had gone pale and raw, like he hadn't eaten or slept. His nails were black at the tips. He didn't even blink anymore when you passed. And a neighbor swore they saw him crawl out of the hole one morning. Not climb, crawl, head first like a lizard. She moved 2 days later. The next weekend, there was a noise. Not a loud one, just this low vibration you could feel in your feet more than hear. A hum. It started near dawn and lasted 7 seconds. 7 seconds of the earth holding its breath. And then silence. The next morning, the hole was covered. Not filled, covered with wood. Perfect unbroken planks laid side by side. Too clean to be from any hardware store. There were no nails, no hammer marks, just seamless boards, flush with the dirt, as if the earth had grown a lid. And Mr. Haskin was gone. His car was still in the driveway. His tools still leaned against the shed. But the house was cold, empty. Inside, every room was clean, except the basement. The basement smelled like rust and dirt and something sharp. The police were called. They searched for him, put out flyers, but they never opened the hole. No one ever did. The HOA eventually had it fenced off, called it a landscaping hazard. You can still see the boards from the sidewalk if you lean over far enough. And on especially cold mornings, sometimes there's frost around the edges, even in the summer. It's the kind of frost that doesn't melt. And last week, I swear I saw something. Just past the fence. Something pale, bent, digging. It wasn't Mr. Haskin. It was something else.